Hey guys, thank you so much for downloading the plugin. Here's a quick guide on how to set up everything so you guys know what to look for and start creating right away. So first thing on the UI, you will see this preview window, which shows you what everything does, kind of. That way you don't have to go into preview mode right away. So density is going to control the amount of dots that spawn in. So if I slide this up, you will see more dots or less dots come in. Next slider is going to be distance, and this is going to be the track record for how long a dot looks for to create a connection. So if I slide this down, you will see less and less connections till 0. And if I slide up, it is going to bring in more connections. Then we have the scale slider, which is going to scale up or down the elements. And now for the next thing, which is going to be the threshold slider, think of it as the area of effect. So if I bring up this, it is pretty much the same thing. So this is going to allow us to better direct the areas that we want the effect to take place in. White is going to be where dots can spawn, and black is going to be the opposite. We also have a switch here, which is going to allow us to work on white compositions, which effectively what it does is just add an invert so that the areas are inverted. Now for the next thing, this is turbulence. This is going to displace the dots on a random axis. And if I click on shield, you will see the generation. It is randomized as well as the displacement. Now we have some toggles up top, but let's go straight to creating. That way you have a visual for everything. So first thing you're going to need is to select the layer on this button right here. This will store both the layer and the light values, and you will see now. So click on this to store the layer, and now let's go into preview mode. Now every change you make on preview mode will be live. So if I go and adjust the threshold, you will see it takes action immediately. Now let's go one by one. Glow is going to add a filter chain to your effect. Depth is going to take the light values from the images and scale up or down the dots and lines depending on the light. So you will see here we have the horse, so everything is bigger. And the next one is going to be grid. So instead of having a random generation, it's going to be generated on a grid. Now distance is super high, so you will see everything being cluttered, but we can go ahead and remove all the distance. That way we can see better. We also get this new option here once we have grid selected that allows us to reduce the scale or bring it up. And this paired with density is what does the effect. Okay. You will see up here you have two options. One is going to be layer mode, which is going to affect the layer that you have stored. And the next one is going to be selection mode. So let's go into selection mode. We have two modes here. One is going to be basic, which is going to work the same as a layer mask for the effect. And the other one is going to be outline. Let me do this real quick so you guys see what basic does. So if I have this selection, I can then store it same as the layer, and it stores the selection. If I go to basic now, it is going to only affect this triangle area that I selected. Now for the next type, let me select the horse. Click on outline and update the selection. Outline, you see the threshold changes to stroke, and that gives it away. It is basically going to create a stroke outside of our subject or selection that we can play around with. So the last thing, it is going to be the map. And this is very important if we want to art direct our pieces, because this allows us to basically select the area of effect. So if we go ahead and then paint with white, this works the same way as a layer mask. So think of it as a layer mask, but for this effect. If I go ahead and paint white on this area, and then we can hide this obviously, and change the turbulence, it is going to only displays in this selected area. we also get a new type of adjustment here next to distance, which is going to allow us to only get connections on this turbulence map area. So if I go ahead and set this to something higher, like 100, and then click on mask, this is going to mask the connections to that side, and we can adjust. So think of it as distance for the maximum and mask for the adjustment. Now, if you plan on adding something to this, just keep in mind, it doesn't have to be this layer, just any layer named turbulence map would work. We can obviously remove it, and the time we do an adjustment, it is going to adjust at the same time. Now, for the last things, imagine you've been working for a while, you have all the colors messed up, and everything is kind of wrong. Like, you want to go to the start. You can always click on settings and reset to your default settings. And the last two things are going to be, you can disable the color changes because the UI changes colors depending on the one you have selected for the lines. You can disable it and use the one you want, and also change to light mode. And that is pretty much everything for this simple tutorial. I'll be following up with some more, and thank you so much for the support.